HelpHealVets.org. Help Heal Veterans, together with you, has been helping one recovering veteran at a time. We are helping veterans heal together. What is your healing power? To find out about your power, visit HealVets.org. This PSA is sponsored by Help Heal Veterans.
Save big money on your next painting project at Menards. Pristine interior paint and primer in one is Dutch Boy's best hiding and most durable paint. It delivers a smooth, elegant finish while providing maximum scuff, stain, and mark resistance. Save big money on Dutch Boy paints and get your painting project started today. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. The U.S. war in Iran is now in its 6th week. The Pentagon says over 300 service members have been injured during the war so far, and 13 have been killed. A search and rescue mission is still underway for the missing crew member of a U.S. fighter jet that was shot down in southwestern Iran near the border with Iraq. NBC's Ralph Sanchez details what a rescue would look like.
Once you've established superiority in the air to make sure that Iranian ground troops can't reach the area, is to have boots on the ground, usually dropped from helicopters, to go and to recover those pilots.
U.S. forces are searching mountainous terrain for a second day in an effort to locate the missing airman. Iranian officials denied reports that he may have been captured. President Trump is giving Iran an ultimatum. In a post on Truth Social this morning, Trump gave the Iranian regime 48 hours to make a deal and open the Strait of Hormuz, or he said, quote, all hell will rain down. The president is spending the weekend at the White House, where he's said to be meeting with senior officials and monitoring developments in the Middle East. The Trump administration has filed an emergency motion to restart construction on the White House ballroom. In a filing with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia on Friday, the administration said the pause leaves the White House open and exposed, creating possible national security threats. The filing comes after a federal judge halted construction while a legal challenge proceeds. The lawsuit brought by the National Trust for Historic Preservation argues the $400 million project requires congressional approval. A new study shows even the occasional drink could triple the risk of a serious liver condition. Researchers at the University of Southern California say just one night of binge drinking a month was tied to a threefold jump in advanced liver fibrosis in people with underlying metabolic liver disease. The condition happens in the advanced stage of chronic liver disease. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter. Around the Town, Chicago, with Al Vesloff.
My wife wants to yell at me. Jane?
Hi, I wanted to tell you, I think you said Jane Hathaway. It's Anne.
Anne Hathaway.
Well, that's Frank said that.
That's Frank.
That was Frank, but he was thinking of you, that's why. Okay, go back to getting dressed. I knew she was going to call, because I knew she was listening, and you make a mistake, Jane will get you. So every time.
Sunday afternoons at 1 on WCPT 820.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. In the midst of World War II, a group of Native American soldiers known as the Code Talkers became silent heroes. The U.S. military faced challenge of secure communications on the battlefield, and these men, primarily from the Navajo tribe, were enlisted to develop an unbreakable code. Using their native language, which had no written alphabet, they transmitted vital messages that were indecipherable to enemy forces. The code proved to be an essential asset, particularly in the Pacific Theater, where it helped the Allies win crucial battles. The Code Talkers' courage and ingenuity saved countless lives and turned the tide of the war. Yet, their contributions remained largely unknown until decades later. The legacy of the Code Talkers stands as a testament to the strength, resilience, and invaluable service of Native Americans during one of America's most devastating conflicts. This has been a WCPT Veteran Minute.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's Progressive Talk from TuneIn.
Archaeology is the search for fact, not truth. So forget any ideas you got about lost cities, exotic travel, and digging up the world. We do not follow maps to buried treasure, and X never, ever marks the spot.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Nothing shocks me scientist.
You are listening to Think Theory Radio.
Hello and welcome to Think Theory Radio, the show that brings you topics outside the mainstream realm of thought and ideas to make you think. And I'm your host, Damian Perdue, your archaeological guide on this awesome ride of radio delights. And today, filling in for Paulie C, I got Henry E.
What's up, everybody?
And, normally I try to, don't focus on the past, let it go, stay in the present, except when we're doing an episode of awesome archaeology. And, yeah.
It's awesome.
Can you dig it?
I guess I can. I love that. I love that that's in the intro. Every time I hear it, I laugh. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's kind of goofy, but I like it. It fits.
Exactly. I can dig it.
Yeah. Classic movie, too. I don't know what the Warriors has to do with archaeology, but, still.
Like, it adds. Also, it's funny because, I've since seen The Warrior, kind of recently or whatever, and then that scene came on, and, immediately I was just like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Nice.
I love it.
I could tie it in, though, because Warriors, it's a movie about New York gangs in the 70s or whatever, and there was a lot of graffiti art in it.
Yeah.
And these first two discoveries tie in two of my loves, which is archaeology and graffiti.
Yo.
Especially ancient graffiti.
Yeah. It's even cooler.
Mm-hmm. So this first one is from the land they call Italy, Pompeii.
Pompeii.
Pompeii is where all the people are all ashy.
Yeah. They are. In fact, they are.
Well, there's actually a graffiti-filled corridor there.
Okay.
And it's a 90-foot-long corridor connecting Pompeii's theater district with the main Via Stabiana Road, which boasts the most densely clustered graffiti in the city. Located near Naples, the street art has been all preserved by the ash that we're talking about from the eruption of Mount Vesuvius.
Interesting.
That buried Pompeii and its people in 79 CE. Now, this has, they have found, now they've already known about this corridor, but the recent discovery is 79 new inscriptions from over 2,000 years ago, including a depiction of a well-orchestrated gladiator battle and professions of love.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's the cool thing about both of these the first two that I'm going to do, it really kind of shows how people haven't changed all that much,
That's
in
the
2,000
coolest thing
years.
about, learning ancient stuff is it's just especially the more mundane stuff, it's just oh yeah, people are just people. We're just all the same all throughout forever.
Yeah, exactly. And so they've been utilizing new technology to read these inscriptions. Otherwise, they'd be kind of, they're too faded or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is a collaboration between Sorbonne University in Paris and the University of Quebec in Montreal. The project is called Corridor Voices, and that's aimed to dive deeper into the history of these inscriptions using all different kinds of analytical analysis software.
Interesting, yeah.
New technology that I don't fully understand. But some of the stuff they found is pretty hilarious. So there is one of a gladiator combat scene. So in the gladiator depiction located near the steps of the theater, someone carved two gladiators fighting with swords raised and shields outstretched.
Sick.
Each gladiator is about 4 inches tall, and the researchers commended the artistic value, noting that it was likely a reimagining of an event the creator had previously experienced. Like somebody watched this happen. Dude, I gotta draw this crazy gladiator battle I saw.
And the guy who's discovering it, he's like, oh, this is so realistic. No layman could ever do this.
Right.
It has to be someone witnesses for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Real. Right. It's too realistic. This wasn't just from his mind.
Exactly. No.
And then beyond the warring gladiators, the corridor's plaster carried plenty of mentions of love.
Oh.
One inscription reads, I am in a hurry. Farewell, my Sava. Make sure you love me.
Wow.
It's a little needy there.
Oh, yeah. Damn it.
Another offered a heartfelt plea for love from the slave Meath, who loved Cresto.
Wow.
asking for the goddess Venus to be kind to them so they could live in harmony.
Wow. That's
And
so
then,
sweet.
and then there was a shortened, just says, Erato loves, with the rest of the sentence lost in time. So we don't know who Erato loved.
Wow.
Maybe it just said Erato loves Erato. Maybe
Right,
he
that
was,
could be
a
that's what it was.
narcissist. Or maybe he's Erato loves pizza.
Yeah. Just proclaiming his love for different objects in his life.
And then, of course, if you're going to have, graffiti art, especially ancient graffiti art, you have to have some vulgar comments.
I mean,
Someone said, Michio Chio Chio, you broke your father's stomach while he was defecating. Look how Michio is. And apparently that's like a 2,000-year-old diss.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Like that was running around back in the day, like, your father's stomach. You broke your father's stomach.
Torch your ass. That's so funny.
That is hilarious. So yeah, pretty cool project. And I love the fact that they're able to find these ancient writings that kind of shows like people are still, people are dissing each other.
Yeah.
People are professing their love.
Exactly. People are like,
it's like the ancient version of the little heart. And,
yeah, and the two initials. Yeah. Honestly.
And then going to Egypt. And this one's really cool because it combines ancient graffiti with also evidence of ancient travel and tourism.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there was they figured out that a traveler from India graffitied his name on 5 ancient tombs in Egypt's Valley of the Kings 2,000 years ago.
Wait, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I guess it was a man from India named, although I don't know how do they know it was a man.
That's true.
It says the name was Sakai Koran, unless maybe that's still a modern Indian name,
Perhaps,
Sakai for a man.
Maybe, but
or maybe it's just a little.
Yeah, they're just assuming.
Yeah, come on.
Like, yeah, it seems masculine, whatever, sure.
Right.
That's a man.
But I guess he apparently scratched his name in several places inside rocky tombs in Egypt's Valley of the Kings.
Oh, yeah.
Sacred burial site of pharaohs and elites, including Tutankhamun or King Tut. Quran's graffiti, written in the Old Tamil language, appears 8 times across 5 tombs. It's surrounded by similar etchings made by several others, all of which date between the 1st and 3rd centuries CE. Now, they knew that traders from Tamil Nadu visited Egypt through other inscriptions found in the ancient port cities, but this is the first time they've found one away from the sites, and that actually shows that they took time to visit and stick around and see.
Yeah, and kind of have like a fun little vacation. Like,
and what's crazy to think about, so this was 2,000 years ago, but at that time, these tombs were already 1,000 to 2,000 years old.
Oh, that's right. I forget how old that stuff is.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
So think about it. So he wanted to go see these ancient sites.
Yeah.
That
as an ancient man.
now it's, his mark left is ancient.
That's so funny.
And I just in my mind, I wonder, was it open as it is now? Like was it a touristy place?
Right,
where did they have guides? Like, hey, come on, you pay.
Come pay us some money.
Yeah.
We'll show you around, whatever. That's crazy.
And I guess it was I'm trying to find the writer's name. It's Ingo Strauch, was a scholar at the University of Lausanne in Switzerland, and a Charlotte Schmidt, a scholar at the French School of Asian Studies, are the ones who presented these findings last month. Now, what the interesting thing is that people have known about these inscriptions for a long time, but they always just assumed that they were Egyptian.
Right.
And it wasn't until these scholars found this and noticed, oh, this is Tamil. This is ancient Tamil. But they figured, oh, this is probably already known. Right. And when they went back home after visiting, and they took pictures of all, and they were studying, they were looking, researching, wait, no one has ever claimed this to be the Tamil language.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So, and these were, been known about for years.
That's funny.
So I thought that was pretty interesting that, just finally somebody could, and basically just saying that was probably that people who'd studied it, these Egyptologists and other archaeologists, just didn't know the Tamil language.
Right. They're just like, it's all seems in order. That's all Egyptian. Sure. Whatever. Yeah.
And it just happened, this was a linguistic scholar, and they understood that this was ancient kind of Sanskrit style writing or whatever, or Tamil language. But I just thought it was pretty cool that these been around for a long time.
Yeah, and we're
no
still
one knew that it was from another country.
Yeah,
just
under the radar, totally.
And also just the way showing, one of the Strauch says, these new inscriptions show the integration of people of Indian origin from all parts of the subcontinent into the society of Rome and Egypt. So by this point in time, the Romans were running Egypt.
Right. Okay.
So that's how ancient it already was.
Damn. Yeah.
But it's pretty cool, to think about that. People traveling around and. I want to see the sights while I'm here.
Yeah, that's so cool. They're of course, people did that back in the day. Of course, we, who doesn't want to get out from their everyday life and see something cool? But it's just cool to hear about people doing that even back then, especially seeing ancient wonders of the world. Just because that's let's go see that. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Yeah, and also too, you think about. I was thinking about this aspect of it where. Some people would probably say, oh, it's messed up that he was writing his name on these ancient tombs. That's vandalism.
Right.
But if he hadn't have done that, we wouldn't know that these ancient Indian people were visiting the sites.
Right,
and
exactly.
It's it ties it more into history.
Exactly.
So it's interesting in that it would be frowned upon.
Right.
Right. Which it actually ties into my own life a little bit because I did something similar when I was a youth.
I
was about 19 and we went to first time I visited Chichen Itza in Yucatan, which is the ancient Mayan site. It's the one you usually see on TV. It's the one with the pretty perfectly preserved step pyramid and observatory and all the different ones. Back then you could go. Now you can't really. I don't even think they let you up the stairs anymore. You used to be able to go up the stairs, and you used to be able to go inside the pyramid. They would take you on a tour. There's a little hallway tunnel that goes up some steps up to the top platform.
Sick.
And sick. Being a 19-year-old graffiti artist, I was I scribed my name and my dad and my brother were shaking their head. Yeah.
What is wrong with
And it was something I kind of regretted a little later, but now actually reading this story.
Yeah, you're just leaving your mark on the world.
But I was thinking about imagine in 2,000 years.
Exactly.
And somebody finds my name inside, they reopen it and they find me wait, somebody from, the 1990s wrote this. What an ass.
That's awesome.
All right, so now I have two more stick it in Egypt.
Okay.
Two more that ties into graffiti, but it's kind of the ancestor of graffiti, which is ancient rock art. And I'm trying to find where is the old one.
The old one.
Yeah, so this is the older one.
Ooh.
And a rock shelter discovered in the southern Sinai Desert contains designs and inscriptions spanning a period of 10,000 years. The Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities has announced. Located in Arak Plateau, the rock shelter was discovered during an archaeological survey carried out by a team of Egyptologists. The shelter is about 330 feet long and 10 feet deep with a ceiling up to 5 feet. The oldest rock art, which was dated based on its style, was found near the entrance and dates to between roughly 10,000 and 5,500 BCE.
Damn.
The statement said, it depicts a variety of scenes, including a hunter who's holding a bow and is accompanied by at least 2 hunting dogs. Scenes from later time periods include people riding horses and carrying weapons, and there are inscriptions that date to ancient and medieval times. The rock art also includes geometric images of X's, squares, ovals, crescents, and more complex shapes. The archaeological team is in the midst of analyzing the designs. The shelter is near ancient copper and turquoise mines and was likely used across the ages as a lookout point and a place for gathering and rest.
That's rad.
Yeah. But I thought it was pretty cool, too, that it's it was a place where, somebody kicked it off, right?
Yeah.
And wrote whatever, drew the first design. And then somebody 1,000 years later came, I'm going to put some of those too,
Exactly.
And just over the course of 10,000 years, people kept adding to it.
That's so...
Yeah.
That's so rad. That's so rad. It's just insane to me that, the first two, like you said, the first two people to decide to do it.
Yeah.
The first person and then the person to add to it. That creates the trend of okay, now people do that now.
And that it lasted that long, and people kept adding to it.
Exactly.
You know, and that it still exists. That
the fact that it's preserved still is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it looks like it's in like a very rad, like noticeable spot. Like you know,
it's in some kind of like
it said people were using it for like a lookout spot or like just to kind of like
and you could see like I know you're looking at the first picture, you can see all the different you know there's actually like letter inscriptions written in Nabatean, which is the language of the people who built the city of Petra. Which is that ancient city in Jordan where it's like carved into the rock. It looks like a temple carved into the rock. Yeah, that was the Nabateans.
Sick.
Another one, still sticking in Egypt, is a 5,000-year-old rock art from ancient Egypt depicting terrifying conquest of the Sinai Peninsula.
Damn.
This one's interesting because it depicts a takeover, they believe, showing how Egypt's brutal conquest of the region. The artwork shows in terrifying manner how the Egyptians colonized the Sinai and subjugated the inhabitants, the archaeologist said in a statement. The scene shows a man raising his arms in triumph, while another man is on his knees with an arrow in his chest and his hands tied behind his back.
Brutal.
There's also a boat nearby and an inscription that says Min, an Egyptian deity associated with fertility, is the ruler of the Copper area, archaeologists wrote in a new study. Looking at the entire composition, we can assume the boat to have been associated with the Egyptian ruler, the triumphant man with the god Min, and the subdued and killed man with the local inhabitants, the archaeologists wrote in the journal. They noted that in ancient Egypt, boats were often used as a metaphor for the pharaoh.
Oh, really? Interesting.
And this one's it's pretty cool because it's very detailed. And you know, it's not like the most realistic looking drawings, but it's drawn detailed enough that you can see all exactly the description that I said, where there's like the sword in the guy's back and like he's bound, and then there's the boats coming in.
No, that's like really surprisingly detailed considering, and like sharp considering it's like, what is it, 5,000 years old?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Right. And I wonder if this was drawn by the conquerors or the conquered.
True.
You know, I wonder who. I would assume by the conquerors, just because it's depicting the boat and which symbolized the pharaoh and everything, and just kind of showing off like, hey,
it seems this. Yeah, exactly. This is us now.
And so I have a couple more Egyptian stories.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I had so many. Probably do the whole show just on all these new Egyptian discoveries.
I love it.
But these two are pretty cool. Okay, so one was buried for 96 years beneath the Nile. A giant fragment of a legendary Egyptian statue has finally been found. Archaeologists working in central Egypt recently uncovered a massive limestone block lying face down in the soil at El Ashmunin, an archaeological site about 150 miles south of Cairo. And originally they thought the stone appeared just to be another fragment among the ruins. The area contains collapsed temple walls, carved blocks, broken sculptures. But the newly exposed piece immediately drew attention because of its large size and detailed carvings beneath layers of dust.
Ooh.
And this excavation lies within the ruins of Hermopolis Magna.
That's a rad name.
Right? And so for nearly a century, archaeologists exploring the site searched for a missing piece of a monumental statue of Ramses II, who was the pharaoh who ruled Egypt from 1279 to 1213 BCE. In 1930, German archaeologist Gunther Roeder uncovered the lower half of the colossal seated statue carved from limestone. The fragment showed the throne and legs of the king, but the upper portion had disappeared. Until now. So this missing piece finally surfaced during excavations in 2024 when a joint mission from Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, the University of Colorado Boulder, resumed research in the area. The interesting thing is they were not looking for this. They were just doing normal digging, just looking up for anything.
They just happened
they happened upon this.
That's wild.
And
yeah,
it's pretty cool, right?
That
so it has
crazy.
the depiction of Ramses. So it's the top part, so it's its head, perfectly preserved, with a cobra throne, kind of, or not throne. What do you call it?
Like the
crown.
Yeah.
I forget what they called it in there. I think there's a
more specific
in
name.
there. Ramses wearing a double crown and a headdress. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
Topped with the royal cobra. And so it took them a while. Then they figured out, obviously they measured it, and it fit perfectly to this other one. So it is the missing piece, the missing link.
Hey, we finally found it.
Yeah, so that's amazing.
That is.
And how, preserved it is.
I know. That's, the thing that's, constantly getting to me throughout all this is, how, insane it is.
Yeah.
That, the fact that they're preserved at all is, honestly a miracle, in my opinion. Considering, how much, living we do as humans in the world.
We kind of in destruction.
Yeah, we build over shit or stuff all the time, and then we, do all the things that we need to do.
Yeah.
But then randomly, just some things from so long ago are just
I always wonder if that's going to be ours is just going to be all plastic stuff because it lasts forever.
It's never going away.
No more rocks. They're just going to find ancient plastic, figurines.
Yeah.
This is the ancient soldier. It's a G.I. Joe. All right, one more real quick before we go to break, because this is another one that they've been looking for centuries.
Whoa.
Is Thutmose II's lost tomb has been identified.
Whoa.
And for more than a century, Egyptian King Thutmose II remained absent from the country's most famous burial ground, leaving a quiet hole in the story of the royal death and power.
Whoa.
That search ended near Luxor, with the long-lost tomb brings a major chapter of ancient history back into focus. Archaeologists from Egypt and Britain are credited with identifying the tomb of King Thutmose II, the last 18th dynasty ruler whose burial place had never been located.
Interesting.
Yeah. Fieldwork was led by Piers Litherton, a honorary research associate whose excavation tracked early royal burials outside the main valleys. And location near tombs of royal women made the burial look like another consort's chamber, but not a king's. Archaeologists treat the landscape as evidence, and finding group wives, children, officials in separate parts of the cliffs. Nearby openings include burials linked to two wives of Thutmose III, an intended resting place for Queen Hatshepsut.
Nice.
The context shaped early expectations and delayed a royal claim until later fragments provided a clearer picture.
Interesting.
Yeah, in the burial chamber, surviving plaster showed a blue ceiling dotted with yellow stars. It was a rare marker of kingship. Fragments from Amduat, a royal afterlife text about the sun's night journey, appeared on bits of the fallen wall. The discovery that the burial chamber had been decorated with scenes from the Amduat, a religious text which is reserved for kings, was immensely exciting and the first indication that this was a king's tomb, said Litherland. And but they also have found not just the paint, but they have found royal objects hidden in the debris. Now, unfortunately, still have not found his sarcophagus or sarcophagi or his body.
Right.
They did find a body there before. Haven't been able to link it to him yet. And they believe that he might have been moved. Oftentimes, the priests, ancient Egyptian priests, would move the bodies of the pharaohs to kind of hide them from looters or enemies and stuff like that. So it's possible he could be still in the area in another tomb, but still, it's pretty amazing they found his tomb.
Oh yeah,
after centuries looking for it.
No,
go ahead.
I wonder what inspired him to decide to be buried away from all the other people in their own, because there was an area dedicated to the
there's the Valley of the Kings.
Yeah, exactly.
It depends. I mean, I think there's so many different dynasties within ancient Egypt.
Right.
And you have, some try to separate themselves away from the others.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I'm covering my own path.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
going over here.
Could be.
Yeah,
or it could have been, maybe there was no room left.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude, you got to go over here.
We'll make a new one.
Yeah.
It'll be really cool, we swear.
Yeah, because, there was, if you think Egyptian dynasty lasted over 3,000 years, so you'd have, I don't know exactly how many pharaohs there were, but it was a lot. So they'll keep finding more and more.
Hopefully.
All right, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into some ancient tools. We'll get a little bit of Stonehenge in here and some ancient megaliths older than Stonehenge on Think Theory Radio right after this.
This is a WCPT Civil Rights Snapshot. In August of 2022, American Airlines hosted the Bessie Coleman Aviation All-Stars Tour celebrating the 100th anniversary of Bessie Coleman performing the first public flight by a woman of color. Bessie was a phenomenal pilot, but her path to get there was far from easy. When Bessie was 23, she moved in with her brothers who were returning from World War I. Bessie's brothers would tease Bessie because in France, women were allowed to fly planes, something Bessie could not. Determined, Bessie applied to several flight schools across the country, where she was declined for being a woman and being of color. Remembering what her brothers said, Bessie taught herself French and applied and was accepted to the Caudron Brothers School of Aviation in France and received her international pilot's license in 1921. Coleman traveled the country giving speeches and demonstrations, refusing to speak anywhere that was segregated. Sadly, in 1926, due to a loose wrench stuck in the engine, Bessie followed the plane to her death. Bessie's death was tragic, but it shows that even in 2022, her legacy still lives on. Please stay vigilant about our civil rights. The fight is never over.
Hi, listen to my show, The Matt McNeil Show, on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, weeknights at 9 p.m. I sort through the stunning level of unbelievable ineptitude coming from Sleepy McOrangecankle, his sideshow of freaks, leeches, and substance abusers, and the mind-numbing stupidity which haunts our news feeds. We also take time to make sure we point out that Trump is hurting all of us right now, so stay informed and stay vigilant. Consider me documentation for the eventual trials at The Hague. It's The Matt McNeil Show, weeknights at 9 p.m. right here on 820 WCPT.
WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Think Theory Radio. Today we're doing an episode of Awesome Archaeology. And I had a couple, so we did a bunch about Egypt. I have one Egyptian one left. Woo. But it ties into a couple other discoveries through the use of ancient tools.
Ooh.
Scientists discovered an ancient Egyptian tool 2,000 years ahead of its time.
Interesting.
A simple handheld copper bow drill from ancient Egypt is yielding new insights more than 100 years after it was first found. The small copper alloy object was originally discovered at Badari in Upper Egypt in the 1920s, inside an adult male's grave dubbed Grave 3932. Now, 100 years later, researchers from Newcastle University and Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna have recognized the artifact's immense importance in the history of tool use. The research team examined the piece under magnification and concluded that it represents the earliest identified rotary metal drill from ancient Egypt's pre-dynastic period in the late 4th millennium BCE, the age before the first pharaohs ruled.
Wait, really?
Yeah. The ancient Egyptians are famous for stone temples, painted tombs, and dazzling jewelry, but behind those achievements lay practical, everyday technologies that rarely survive in the archaeological record. Martin Odler, visiting fellow in Newcastle University's School of History, Classics, and Archaeology, said, one of the most important was the drill, a tool used to pierce wood, stone, and beads, enabling everything from furniture making to ornament production. And and the picture looks pretty cool. You can't really see it in this one, but I was looking at it earlier, and it looks like like an arrowhead,
right?
But like a corkscrew kind of drill.
That's so
style. Cool. And I like this one because it kind of like it'll make the ancient alien people upset because they're always like, how did they make these perfect holes? It's like, well, they have this drill. This bow drill.
Yeah.
Another quick one before we take a phone call.
Yeah.
I got two other tool ones that I thought were pretty interesting.
Whoa.
This one, archaeologists unearthed a 430,000-year-old stick.
Yeah.
But it's the most important stick ever found.
Really?
Because after careful analysis, they say it could be the oldest wooden tool ever discovered.
Oh, really? Okay.
Found in southern Greece, the stick was one of two wooden artifacts that appear to have been shaped intentionally, according to a new study.
Oh.
Now, the picture is not that very spectacular. Just kind of looks like
it is a wooden stick.
Like a cane or something.
Yeah.
And they believe the items were likely used by early Neanderthals or a species known as Homo heidelbergensis.
Ah, yes, those
guys.
Them.
During the Middle Pleistocene, an era of human evolution characterized by increasing behavioral complexity and the first unambiguous evidence of plant-based technologies. Oh, they liked their plant-based stuff back then.
Hey-o.
We found marks from chopping and carving on both objects, clear signs that humans had shaped them. Lead author Annemieke Milks, an archaeologist at the University of Reading in England, tells the New York Times. Let's get one more in because I want to get the tool stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
They have found evidence that stone tools evolved independent of ancient African cultures.
Oh, really?
A breakthrough finding in Armenia where thousands of ancient cutting tools were found beautifully preserved cast doubts on a currently prevailing hypothesis that these were solely invented in Africa. The tools discovered were between 325,000 and 335,000 years old. The age suggests the ancient Paleolithic cultures of the time that inhabited the region independently developed the sophisticated technique to produce them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So just like independently in, a couple spots, like people kind of
came up with the same idea, which you find, I think around the world you do see humans
it's happened a few
tend to,
times.
if you look at language, you look at the concept of zero, you look at, pyramids, the same kind of ideas pop into the human mind.
Right. It's cool though.
Yeah.
It's funny when that just kind of happens like organically.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's one of the things I always say, especially during our awesome archaeology, is that the modern technology that we have to examine the ancient technology is really opening up, the books on, more and more details about ancient life and rewriting history in a lot of ways. So it's pretty amazing. Let's take a quick phone call. We got Steve in the Gold Coast. What's going on, Steve?
Yeah, it's a really interesting topic, and I would tend to agree with you. I mean, this, it's going to throw a bit of salt into somebody's breakfast cereal, especially the people who tend to like the ancient alien stuff and the Atlantis stuff, the Graham Hancock stuff, this sort of thing. I mean, the reality is that we as human beings we are hardwired for pattern recognition. So we see a pyramid in Egypt, one in Mesoamerica, another one in Cambodia. Oh my God. It must be one culture. No, it turns out that we're all human beings and we tend to think alike. And if you have any children in your life, you know that a 2-year-old realizes very quickly how to stack blocks in order to make them higher, and they do so by making the base higher, and and as you go up, it's making more narrow. It's not rocket science, but again, what people like Graham Hancock do is engage in hyperdiffusion. So in other words, something looks kind of like something else, and therefore, this culture must have stolen it or borrowed it or taken it from somebody else 10,000 miles away. Right. No, I mean, two people can arrive at the same conclusion, independent of one another. And in terms of the discoveries in places like Armenia and other parts of Asia and Europe, I mean, these are pre-humans. So, I mean, our ancestors, modern humans, left Africa about 70,000 years ago. Yeah. And then depending upon where you're talking about in the world, they arrived there at different times. So these aren't modern humans. Right. These predate us. So, but it does say something about the fact that, we for a long time thought that they weren't capable of anything more sophisticated. Than very rudimentary tools or language and sort of thing. And now we're having to rewrite that. Now at the same time, the pseudo archaeology, or what some people can now call it fantasy archaeology, grabs onto this stuff and like, oh well, look, we were right all the time. No, you weren't. I mean, archaeology has never claimed to have all of the answers, and we're always willing to look at new evidence. But it doesn't lead us down to the ancient aliens path or the Atlantis path and this kind of nonsense. So and then though it's fun to talk about, we can laugh about it. The reality is that when you attempt to do this, you're robbing people of their own culture. Yeah. I mean, with all due respect, the Olmec culture was not an African culture or anyone else. It was Mesoamerican. And when you try to co-opt it, you're denying those people of their cultural heritage. Yeah. So it does matter.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I want to thank you for the call, Steve, because we got a ton more.
Thanks, Steve.
Ton more to get to. But yeah, totally. I mean, I think there's my only thing that I would say counter to that is only that somebody like a Graham Hancock or other kind of fringe archaeologists, pseudo archaeologists or whatever, they can push the boundary a little bit to like open up a pathway for archaeological discoveries that might not have been found. Right. Now, I don't like that they try to like make money from just kind of conflated stories and theories that really have no proof. He's been around a long time, but he's never discovered anything on his own. It's just kind of trying to tie in discoveries from other places, right, okay. And just trying to sell books, trying to sell a TV show, that kind of thing. if you look at a lot of, like all the articles I'm reading, I'm mentioning archaeologist names.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Have you ever heard of any of these people?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the true archaeologists are ones that you rarely ever hear their name.
Yeah.
Because they don't care about that. They want to do the work. They want to find, and there's, if any, you could go back in time and say there was a lot of Eurocentricity involved in archaeology, especially in the 1800s, early 1900s.
Right.
They try to tie everything, the Egyptians couldn't have built the pyramids. Stuff like that. It's very similar to what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Oh, they couldn't have been this, had to be from the aliens or had to be from Atlantis or whatever.
Right.
But I think that modern times and modern archaeology, you have many more open-minded archaeologists. You have a lot more women archaeologists. You have a lot more people of color that are archaeologists.
Yeah, from like different cultures.
Exactly. And they work together.
Exactly.
And any one of them, if they were to find a discovery like, if they found Atlantis or if they found some evidence of an actual ancient alien or something that proved, Jesus lived or, they would be shouting it from the rooftops. They wouldn't be trying, because that would be the most major discovery of all time. That would put their name in the books forever.
They would be, literally. Literally.
So So that's it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's take another phone call real quick. We got someone from the 425 area code.
Paul in Seattle.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, how's it going, Paul?
Yeah, all right.
What do you got for us?
Well, here's what I want to offer up on Easter weekend is and it's not a conspiracy theory, it actually is the real reason, at least the earthly reason, that Jesus was crucified. And it does make reference to this in the Gospels, but yet only briefly, because the Gospel of Mark, for instance, it's not their point to make this point, but it first comes up in Mark 15:7. When they talk about, they're going to release Barabbas, the murderer. So it says, there was a man named Barabbas who was in prison with others who had committed murder during the insurrection. So because it says the insurrection, it's referring to a particular insurrection that took place in the year 28. We think Jesus was crucified in the year 29. So you have to go back. Yeah, so you go back to Pontius Pilate. He was a low-level Roman appointee, and in those times, the point of being in an office was actually bribery and grift. You were actually supposed to be trying to make money.
Like
and
that?
so
Wait, that hasn't changed
that's
much.
Crazy. I've never heard of that.
No, that's crazy. So Pilate, being appointed to Judea, was just like, oh, thanks, thanks, Augustus. This is a great appointment. How am I going to make? So you pointed to try and make money. He wanted to make money so that he was rich enough to run for the Senate. That was the whole point of moving up in the political ladder, is to make enough money so you could run for the Senate, the Roman Senate. So being in Judea, which is just dirt poor, the only place to get money, which is where all the money was, which is in the Jewish temple, in the temple. And so what he did was he worked out a deal with Caiaphas, the chief priest, to be a sort of project manager for, this was 3 years earlier, because the Jewish tradition, they wanted purification pools, but it has to be running water. You can't just have a swimming pool, right?
Right.
So the Romans were really good at making, aqueducts.
Yeah.
So Pilate was going to be the project manager to dig this, through the temple so they could have a water running through purification pool. But this was going to be, it would be great. But it was going to be Roman workers. And the Jews said, this is unthinkable that there'd be Roman labor in the Jewish temple.
Scabs!
And so, so there was an uprising. And that's the uprising, the insurrection that is referred to in Mark 15:7.
Oh, wow.
It happened the year before Jesus was crucified. So when Jesus said at the temple, you have turned my father's house into a den of thieves, they went, when they heard about it, he's saying that, oh, he's dragging the whole thing up from last year again. And he's going to try and start another insurrection, and we can't have that.
So they had to get it.
So they So Jesus, as you say, he went and had at least in the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, he went and had the Passover in the upper room because it was still daytime. He couldn't leave the city because they were looking for him. So he escaped at night and went back up to the Mount of Olives, which, by the way, during the Passover festival would have been just full. It's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of campers. So the reason they needed Judas is to show the council needed Judas is to show them, where are you cats camping? And so Judas showed him the way for the 30 coins of silver.
Yeah.
And they said, because we are going to get this guy before he starts another insurrection, because they didn't really take it seriously. They didn't think, he's a son of God or anything. No, they just thought, this guy is a troublemaker.
Yeah.
Now, he came here
Rebel rouser.
to start another labor issue.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's why they said that we had enough of that. So it was that is the real reason that the kind of on earth reason, the day to day reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about not that
right, not mystical.
Yeah, nobody really knew that. Oh, this is all happening, and this could be. They're just like it's just like every day. Oh, here's something with loudmouth saying that it's and that's kind of the short story of why Jesus was crucified. Is they thought he was going to start, and they eventually did. They had later on, and of course, in the year 134, the Emperor Hadrian just basically ground Jerusalem, just burned it to the ground because of insurrections. They had enough of those insurrections, and of course, that's really bad for Pilate having a new appointment. He only been appointed 3 years earlier. And he already had a rebellion once. And it's like Augustus, it would have been Tiberius at the time. Tiberius, they don't want to hear about that. You had another one?
Yeah.
So
you're done.
Yeah.
So they had to really make sure that this stuff didn't happen. But yeah.
Ah, that's cool.
That's
really interesting.
All right. Yeah, but thanks.
And you don't hear about that. Yeah.
No, go ahead. You don't hear about it.
It's true. It's in the history. It's in the history, the secular history.
Yeah.
And like I said, the Gospels make only oblique passing reference to, but when it says the insurrection, instead of they were murderers in an or a insurrection, just some insurrection. No, it was the insurrection that took place the year before. That's why biblical scholars, think that it was more likely that Jesus was crucified in 29 because the insurrection took place in 28.
Gotcha. Well, thanks a lot, Paul. Thanks for the call. And that's cool. Perfect timing with this weekend, Easter. And he gave me a good opportunity to tie in a story that I had already. Tying in, connecting to Jesus. Jesus. The Shroud of Turin.
Oh.
May have Indian origin.
Oh, really?
DNA analysis suggests. Yarn used to make the Shroud of Turin may have likely come from ancient India's Indus Valley region, according to a new DNA analysis of samples from the linen fabric believed to have been used to wrap Jesus' crucified body. The shroud, measuring 4 meters long, 1 meters wide, remains one of the world's most controversial Christian artifacts, first documented in France in 1354. Now, DNA analysis of material collected from the relic in 1978 suggests the cloth used to make the fabric may have originated in India.
That's interesting.
Yeah, researchers including Gianna Baracaccia at the University of Padova also identified a range of different animal, plant, and human material contaminating the shroud over several years. Analysis of the DNA traces found in the Shroud of Turin suggests the potentially extensive exposure of the cloth in the Mediterranean region and the possibility that the yarn was produced in India. They wrote in a new, yet-to-be peer-reviewed study in bioarchive. Genetic material found on the shroud includes those of domestic dogs, cats, chicken, cattle, goats, sheep, pigs, and horses. Oh, my. As well as wild animals such as deer and rabbits. DNA from carrots, peppers, tomatoes, potatoes, and some wheat species were also found in samples from the shroud.
Interesting.
And basically, they believe that it's, coming to contact with multiple individuals, challenges the possibility of identifying its original DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So it really clouds the research into finding out, how old this thing really is, if it's even tied to Jesus.
Right.
Because there's so much different. I mean, this latest study says about 40% of the human DNA found in the shroud is from Indian lineages.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a cool discovery,
Yeah.
but it kind of messes up any further,
Right.
unless we get some super highly advanced DNA, and technology that you can figure out and dissect.
Yeah, like very
even further molecular or whatever. But still pretty cool, unless maybe, Jesus was Indian.
Maybe he was. Maybe he was.
I just feel like all the like the animals and then the plants and food, it's like just makes me think, because if you look at it, it kind of looks like a potato sack.
Yeah.
It was just like a food sack, and then somebody was like, "Oh, we could make this into the shroud." Yeah,
that's so interesting.
Let's see, we got 10 minutes, so we got a little bit more. So I did tease a couple of ancient megalithic discoveries, and one of them, I had two kind of tying into Stonehenge, but not really. One is about Stonehenge. The other one is these giant stone monuments that are older than Stonehenge. Ooh. They believe that were built by an ancient water cult. And taking us back to Armenia, this is a massive stone pillars scattered throughout the Armenian highlands were erected by members of an ancient cult devoted to water worship more than 6,000 years ago, a new study has revealed. Known locally as Visheps, which translates as dragon stones. Sick. Which is pretty cool. These monuments date back nearly a millennium before England's Stonehenge megalithic structure was constructed. The animal-shaped monoliths can be found throughout Armenia's mountainous terrain and surrounding nations. Archaeologists conducted the first comprehensive examination of these structures have determined their creators held water as a central element of their religious beliefs and practices. The stone pillars range in height from 1 meter to 5 meters and were fashioned from locally available materials, including basalt and andesite rock. And researchers discovered the monuments are concentrated within two distinct altitude zones rather than being randomly distributed. There's also depictions of fish shapes and kind of bovine and the kind of fusion of both. They're really cool looking. They're like very detailed. And I know it kind of probably ties in. I mean, it's 4,000 years later, but Göbekli Tepe is a 10,000-year-old temple site found in that area as well. It's also one of those, like, how did they transport them?
Yeah.
Because these are up, like, really mountainous landscape. How did they get them up there? So it just adds more and more mystery to what these are, but pretty cool. And then going to the actual Stonehenge, a fingerprint taken from Stonehenge changes everything we know about its mystical origins. Let me see. By studying the age and chemistry of mineral grains within fragments of the 6-ton altar stone, which is the largest of the non-sarsen stones on site, now it's partially buried beneath 2 fallen stones. Researchers led from a team by Curtin University may have upended that history, writing that a stone long believed to originate from Wales actually hails from Scotland.
Oh.
Yeah, the team crafted a chemical fingerprint of the stone. That chemical composition matched that of rocks from northeast Scotland, clearly differentiated it from the Welsh bedrock. Our analysis found specific mineral grains in the altar stone are mostly between 1,000 and 2,000 million years old, while other minerals are around 450 million years old, Anthony Clark, lead author, the PhD student, said in a statement. This provides a distinct chemical fingerprint suggesting the stone came from rocks in the Orcadian Basin in Scotland, at least 466 miles away from Stonehenge.
That's insane.
Yeah. So that also adds to, like, even further is kind of the mystery of, like how did they get it? And that shows that they have that probably had an extensive, trade routes. They probably had they had to have some kind of boating system to get the stones across the water. Also, why would they do that? This must have had some kind of meaning and purpose.
It must have. It already must have, but like the fact that they came from that far away goes to show that this is like so important for them.
Yeah,
to
exactly
go this far out for it.
One of the co-authors says, our discovery of the altar stone's origins highlights a significant level of societal coordination during the Neolithic period and helps paint a fascinating picture of prehistoric Britain. Transporting such massive cargo overland from Scotland to southern England would have been an extremely challenging, indicating a likely marine shipping route along the coast of Britain. This implies long-distance trade networks and a higher level of societal organization than is widely understood to have existed during the Neolithic period in Britain.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, and on a weird, mystical, magical connection, there's like, and I actually talked about this on the when I did the little St. Patrick's Day show, is the myth that Merlin, the druid wizard, actually created Stonehenge in either Ireland or Scotland, and then magically transported it to England to hide it from the invading Celts or whoever was coming in at the time, or the Romans or whatever. But I don't remember exactly who it was. But
sick.
Yeah, it's like an ancient myth, you know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting to have like one of the stones actually is from Scotland.
Yeah, so you know,
kind of, you know,
it's kind of,
and whether I mean, obviously, probably not some kind of magical thing, but I could see the mythos being created from that. You know, like back in the day. Oh, these stones are from Scotland. Wow, how did they get?
How they get here? Well, Merlin brought them here, obviously.
You know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's see. We got a couple more minutes. What should we do? I have so many still left. We did. All right. Let's mention this one because we did. It is Easter tomorrow, Easter weekend. I have another one of biblical proportions.
Whoa.
Archaeologists found a holy box that could finally unravel centuries of mysteries. Archaeologists recently dug up an ancient reliquary in Austria and may have found out just where it came from and even what holy treasures it once held. Since 2016, the archaeologists have been excavating a hilltop site in the municipality of Urchin, according to the Universität Innsbruck press release. 4 years ago, they made a startling discovery, a marble shrine measuring around 20 by 30 centimeters buried beneath the altar of a long-abandoned church. Within that shrine were fragments of a very specific kind of ivory box called a pyx, or pikes, it's P-Y-X, which was typically adorned with Christian imagery and used to hold a relic connected to some prominent place or figure within the faith. The clergy or congregation would often take the pyxes when a church was abandoned, so the archaeologists were surprised that this particular pyx remained within the ruins. We know of around 40 ivory boxes of this kind worldwide, archaeological team leader Gerald Graber said in a press release. And as far as we know, the last time one of these was found during excavations was around 100 years ago. The few pyxes that exist are either preserved in cathedral treasures or exhibited in museums. And it's a really cool looking, very detailed, has a bunch of, I don't know, kind of like saintly looking guys inscribed on it.
Yeah, they have like the halo behind them or whatever.
Yeah. The pyx's decoration, the team determined, draws a connection from the biblical figures of the Old Testament through to what they believe is a depiction of the ascension of Christ. Its imagery begins on one end with a depiction of a figure at the foot of a mountain, turning his gaze away and a hand rising out of the sky above him, placing something between the person's arms. Graber notes that such imagery is the typical depiction of the handing over of the laws to Moses on Mount Sinai, the beginning of the covenant between God and the man from the Old Testament. And then the pyx depicts a series of more biblical figures before concluding with an image that might be unrecognizable to those only familiar with the more contemporary visual depictions of the New Testament. It shows a man riding in a two-horse chariot as a hand emerges from the clouds to pull the chariot to heaven. This, the team believes, is meant to portray Jesus Christ's ascension into heaven, albeit in a manner not typically depicted. The depiction of the scenes from the Old Testament and their connection with the scenes of the New Testament is typical of late antiquity and thus fits in with our pyx, Graber said of the imagery. However, the depiction of the ascension of Christ with a so-called biga, or a two-horse chariot, is very special and previously unknown. Dun, 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 dun. All right, I guess, wow, I'm like almost could fit one more in.
Let's,
you think we could do it?
I think we can do it.
I think we could do it. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Here we go. I wanted to do this one because it sounded kind of cool.
Sick.
Scientists uncover world's largest dinosaur footprints big enough to swallow a human in one step.
That's crazy.
130 million-year-old fossil site on the Dampier Peninsula of Western Australia has reshaped global understanding of dinosaur diversity during the early Cretaceous period. At the center of the discovery is a series of intertidal track-bearing reefs in the Broome Sandstone. And I'm trying to find more data. Where is that? The fossil data derived from the Yanagari-Lurigari section of the Dampier Peninsula. Between 2011 and 2016, researchers conducted more than 400 hours of ichnological survey work over the stretch of the coastline.
Damn.
The tracks are embedded in the fluvial to deltaic facies of the Broome Sandstone. Say that 5 times fast. And there's a picture of a guy lying next to
hell yeah
the footprint, and he's barely he's like a head taller than
that's huge.
The size of it. It's a 1.7 meter sauropod footprint.
That's insane.
The largest dinosaur track ever recorded.
That's so cool.
Right? I mean, just look at, that just gives you the immensity that they were.
Mm-hmm.
They would just crush somebody.
Literally.
All right, that's going to do it for us. I want to thank everybody for listening and calling in. We'll be back again next Saturday and every week right here on WCPT 820 Think Theory Radio.
Mind Over Matters.
Dr. Amy Harris Nuan, as you know, this show is about challenging you to think differently, to make different choices in your life, to take action, to create positive outcomes in your life. So I want to challenge you to look at your life holistically. Where am I satisfied? What areas need attention? And then go to work, take an action what you need to do.
Mind Over Matters with Dr. Amy Harris Nuan. Sundays at 10 a.m. on WCPT 820.
Listen to the Thom Hartmann radio program every weekday from 11 to 2 right here on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Driving it home with comedian and